Hey guys, so we're going to be going over file system management for this demo. This is a really quick one, shouldn't take too long, but I want to make sure that everyone's kind of on the same page and has the best knowledge that they can about how to easily manage files because it's been an issue in the past and we want to, again, just make sure you guys are all caught up to speed with this. So, file system management is performed with the Windows File Explorer. It's going to be this little yellow file icon right here. If you click on that, it's going to open up and you can access files through here. All right. You can open one window or you can right click on this and do File Explorer again and it'll open a second window. That's really useful in case, like, let's say I'm in my downloads folder and a project folder and I'm trying to transfer both. Well, if you go to downloads, how do you get to the other one? So it makes it a lot easier just sometimes to just have two windows open in order to access multiple things. So when you're talking about doing file management, it's best you find a hierarchy that kind of works for your brain. For me, the one that generally works is just having a straight top-down um, sort of system. So in this case, let me go here, right-click, choose New and Folder. So for you guys, if you haven't done this already, it might be a good idea to just create a folder somewhere that you have access to, either on your personal computer or even on the school computer, because you guys have OneDrive access with it, and I'll explain what that is later. Um, so create a folder called college. We'll double click in here. Now we're in the college, right? So then I can right click and choose new folder, and we can call this, well, this is our already 232 class, right? So we've got a folder for that. Maybe you're taking a history 123, maybe you're taking arts 4 or 300 or whatever. So you've got different class names, right? As you add these in, or just basically keep track of what classes you have, create folders for them. And so now anytime you go to that college folder, you're right there, jump to the class, and then you have access to whatever it is you need in that class. Classes might, or things are going to have different subfolders too. So within each class, what I typically have for the way I organize things is projects and milestones. So for our class, we'll have milestone 1, I'll have milestone 2, I'll have milestone 3, and so on, right? And then in each of these, depending on what it is you're working on, you might have a folder for source files, or you'll have another folder for inspiration. You'll have another for your CAD files, and you'll have another for your final, completed, or let's just say complete, or your completed project, right? So you could have all these different files. So if you come to me and say, hey, can you take a look at my CAD file? You can easily jump to your CAD file, the class, whatever the project was, and the CAD file, and you're there in a couple quick clicks, right? So that's what we're trying to do, is get you guys organized, being able to put files in the right locations as a habit, and maintaining that. And maybe that's something where, it's not too hard for college, but after you get out of college, maybe you go work at, some place that has very strict file management parameters. I worked at a graphic design studio that had been open for many years, and so they had a whole complex system of ordering, of how they ordered different projects and folders and things to keep track, because they had thousands of clients over the years, and a client might call back 3 years later that I've never heard of, and I don't know where their file is, but I know how to access it because of how it's organized. All right, so we've covered hierarchies, subfolders, there, multiple ways to create files. I was clicking on this new folder icon, but again, you can right click and choose new folder as well. To pin folders. So let's say that, you're in your current semester, this class that we're in right now is important. So what you can do is you can right click on it and you can choose, there it is, pin to quick access. So now this class is pinned to quick access. Anytime I open up a new file explorer, it's right there in my quick access, and it's always right there. There's other things here. You can see this has the pin icon right there, and then some of these folders out here are the matching folders for quick access. They don't have pinned icons. So some of these will cycle in and out based on what it is that you're doing. In my particular case, I've been working on a side project, and these folders keep getting accessed for different things that are in them, so they keep showing up in here. If I want to remove something, like say it's the end of the semester, you no longer need this class showing up in your quick access, so you can just right click on it, unpin from quick access, and it's gone. If I don't want this particular folder to show up here, I can also click on this, and I can just do remove from quick access, and it'll go away, and now another one takes its place. I've got a lot of UI folders. Okay, so let's create a zip file. So let's one of the things I'm going to have you guys do for your first two projects is actually zip a folder and send it to me. When you guys have to submit multiple files, there become issues where you've got to submit one at a time. Maybe you lose the symlink or whatever the virtual link is, depending on what the program is that it calls it, that relates a external file to another file that you're working inside, and that can actually break your files. So one of the ways around that is to actually zip your folder. So if I was to go in here and we go in this, and you've done your whole project, everything's organized here, then what you can do is right click on this, and you can come down to send to compressed zip folder right here, and it's going to make a copy of that folder, but there's a couple key differences. It's kind of hard to see. Let me see if I can zoom this up. See how there's that little tiny zipper right there? So that indicates that this is a zipped folder, and then right here on the type as well, I can see compressed zipped folder. So what this has done is it's taken the files that are in there and it shrunk them down. This isn't going to do much because this is just folders. There's not really any content in here. But it can reduce the file size if you're sending it over email, because a lot of email clients still have a file size limit. But also if you're sending multiple files, it keeps those files organized so that your files don't break when they get sent and I can open them, which is going to be very important for your project one. So that's how you create a zip file, is just you select the folder, right click on it, and come down to send to compressed zip folder right here. All right, finally, OneDrive. So OneDrive is here. It's sort of in the same thing. You can also just sort of, oops, let me close this, pop back in. There's a bunch of things, like see how these all say OneDrive Personal? So OneDrive is constantly like checking your desktop documents and pictures for different files, and it's going to be constantly updating those to the cloud. If your personal laptop is a Mac, you can use the App Store to get OneDrive for Mac. There is a download that you can get for that from Microsoft. Otherwise, if you're in Windows, it comes pre-installed with Windows and it's always there. And so what it does is it allows you to sync files between computers. So I can be working at home on stuff on my computer that I'm sitting on right now. This is a desktop. I can save my files, and then I can go to either of my laptops, open them up, and retrieve files that I was just working on my desktop without any interaction on my part. Okay, it automatically syncs things as it goes. And so one thing that you want to be careful of in that process is, do you see this little green check mark here, and there's this little cloud right here? If I go into this folder, and let me just go here, and you'll watch carefully when I create this new text document. See that little blue circly arrow thing, and then it turns green? So that's saying it's syncing it up with the cloud. So it has to upload. So there's my file. It's syncing again, and it's uploaded that change to the cloud, or should have done by now. So if it's the cloud icon that we were seeing back here, this is just stored in the cloud. I don't have this on my computer right now. This is stored in the cloud. I can see what's in there, but I cannot actually access the files directly. I have to try to open them, and then it will download them onto this computer. If it's that blue circling arrow thing, the file exists on this computer, but it has not synced to cloud. The green check mark is the file exists on this computer and it's in the cloud. So if you are working on a large project, I've seen some students with files up to 500 or 600 megabytes try to avoid that in the first place, but if that happens, it might take a minute or two for your file to sync up to the cloud. If that's the case, just make sure you wait until that check mark turns green before shutting down the computer or logging out. Because what's going to happen is you'll get home, just try to start working on your project, and it didn't sync, and you're working with an older project that is out of date and doesn't take account for whatever it is, the hours you just spent in the classroom working on things. So double check that sync status. This goes for all your computers, so if you log into any computer in the school, you're basically logging into a virtual terminal, and then it's downloading your files from the cloud. In our particular case, do not save files to the computers themselves. The computers that we have in the lab don't have great hard drive space because we keep adding new programs to them, and the programs keep getting bigger. So what you'll have to do is just make sure you're constantly saving things to your OneDrive so that your files don't get deleted. So make sure you're always using OneDrive. Make sure you're saving. Go to your OneDrive folder, create whatever it is you need in here to store things. You can see I've got all my classes going back to 2024 or even 2023 here with information on each of those. So I can quickly retrieve things on any of my computers. And it should be like that for you guys. You should be able to open up your laptop, a PC at home, one of the classroom computers, and be able to instantly access your files. So that's all for this lecture. I will see you guys in the next class.